All right, we are live. So welcome back to DApp University. So we got a lot to talk about in our stream today. The first big update that I wanted to focus on is that YouTube is actually eyeing Web 3.0 and how they can integrate this technology into their ecosystem and why this is such a big deal for everybody watching this video. Okay, we're gonna look at that. We'll look at a lot of other news updates that have happened in our live stream since yesterday. Answer some of your questions, just take a look at the crypto markets here and a lot more. So if you're new around here, hey, I'm Gregory, and on this channel, I turn you into a blockchain master. So if that's something that you're interested in, then smash that like button down below for the YouTube algorithm and subscribe to this channel. And if you want to learn how to master blockchain step-by-step start to finish, then head on over to dappuniversity.com/bootcamp to get started today. Last but not least, like nothing I'm saying, this video is obviously designed to be financial advice, and there's lots of scammers in the comment section below. Just ignore them. Like I'm never gonna give you my phone number on YouTube, never gonna ask you to invest with me, never gonna DM you for paid promotion, anything like that. So we've got people jumping in the chat here. We've got Ethan, we've got Walshy Norris, Jake, Automatic Beats, Quinn, I hope I'm saying that right. Emily, Jake, Culture Highs, Deadman, welcome. All right, so let's get into this. Let's talk about YouTube jumping into the Web 3.0 space. And so if you're just catching on this, video, not totally sure what Web 3.0 is. I'm sure a lot of people watch the video are, but I'll just recap. This is the next phase of the internet, powered by blockchains, where you can do new things you couldn't do before the previous version of the internet. That's exactly what happened with every subsequent version or every previous version. Now, Web 1.0, 2.0, 3.0, right? We had basically just static websites that were just informational to interactive websites that had lots of data, behavior, mobile, all that type of stuff. And now we have the internet of value. I've heard it said one way that, Web 1.0 is read, Web 2.0 is read write, and then Web 3.0 is read write own. And so we have lots of use cases for this: cryptocurrencies, NFTs, a lot more. And now I want to talk about how YouTube is planning their foray into Web 3.0. So if you just turned in the streams again over the past couple weeks, welcome Walshy onto the channel. He's gonna be my co-host for these streams. If you have anything you want to talk about in our streams, definitely DM Walshy, because he has Twitter handle there. I am Walshy NFG. Welcome, Walshy.
Hey, morning. Hey, what's up, Gregory? Morning, everybody. Jam, everybody. Absolutely.
Yeah, totally.
Hit me up on Twitter. My DMs are open. If you have a story, we have one today that we will be reporting on.
Yeah, awesome. So I'm going to jump into this here. So YouTube floats ideas of verifying NFTs, and they are also watching games in the metaverse, okay? So, there's lots of different use cases out there for Web 3.0. The ones that have certainly risen to popularity are cryptocurrencies, DeFi, NFTs. And NFTs have had a huge cultural moment where they've really bubbled into mainstream awareness. And I think that's part of what YouTube is capitalizing on here, or planning to, okay? So let's look specifically how they're doing this, because we've seen other social platforms get into this. We've seen Twitter with NFT verification badges. So if you sign up for Twitter Blue and you own a NFT on the blockchain, you can basically connect your blockchain wallet and sign a message that says, yes, I control this wallet. It'll pull in all your NFTs. You can pick the one you want, and it'll display it in your profile picture, kind of like a blue verified check mark, but they give you a special badge that you can't fake, right? So they can verify that you own that NFT using your profile picture. That's a cool use case. So what does YouTube look like they want to do? So let's look at some potential possibilities here. So giving a verifiable way for fans to own unique videos. All right. So we're talking about expanding the use case of NFTs beyond just, holding, collectible pictures on a blockchain and minting them and being a market community that way. But, the fans, it looks like fans of a creator, all right, could actually own specific videos, all right, photos, art, or even experiences. Okay. So this looks like a way that they're talking about how, creators can, interact with their audiences and actually connect with them. And I think this is a pretty compelling use case, because a lot of what gives NFTs value is also the community around them, and creators also create communities around them as well. We see this with CryptoPunks, Bored Apes, all these NFTs, the ones that really end up being successful. Is you're not just buying a picture, you're buying something beyond that, and community is a fundamental aspect. It's the same thing with creator communities. You're not just getting into that tribe. You're getting into a tribe, right? You're getting into something where you feel a sense of belonging, and NFTs can enhance that experience. And so that's a lot of what I think is happening here. Okay. So YouTube has also prioritized the metaverse, an element of Web3 movement that describes shared virtual worlds where people typically interact through avatars. Um, and this is the next sort of frontier that I expect them to move into beyond, NFTs for assets on the platform as well. I think it's a very natural fit because people are already, experiencing video. They're going to YouTube for experiences in the first place. Okay, YouTube already has VR features that you can use. It's not super widely adopted on the platform, but they're well positioned to sort of sit at the intersection of Web 2.0 and the expansion into the metaverse as well. So I'm excited to see where this goes. This is just another tech giant betting on this trend. I mean, we've seen like everybody basically, right? We've got rumors of Apple coming out with the augmented reality technology soon. I don't know if they're rumors or if they're actually confirmed. We've got Facebook rebranding as Meta, Twitter supporting NFTs, YouTube's looking at jumping on this train. This just doesn't look like it's slowing down anytime soon. You talk about social proof, you know what I mean? It's like as a mental shortcut to say, hey, who's doing what and what's the most likely outcome from what everybody else's behavior is. Well, this is a pretty good example of social proof in favor of Web3 being an unstoppable force.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, well said. Especially when it comes to just big companies adopting this and the entire society starting to slowly capitulate to crypto. I love
Yeah, totally.
It's really great about with YouTube doing it. Obviously, everyone's on YouTube, but we're on YouTube right now. But I think, and this is a joke, right? But I think it'll bring new life to like the comment section, right? Imagine if you're actually going into like a YouTube metaverse to like watch a video, and suddenly you're actually surrounded by like an audience, like everybody in our live stream right now would be there with us, and if you were typing into the comment section or however they plan to do it, maybe voice chat, a little bubble will pop up above your head saying what you're typing in, or whether they have voice chat and you're able to actually communicate with like your fellow audience members for a stream. Like, the ideas are really endless and what they could actually do. So I'm pretty hyped to see that, especially because like you said, YouTube's just such a big giant. I mean, everybody's on YouTube. And see them actually get serious. They called it a safer bet. That's an actual quote, that it's a safer bet that NFTs and metaverse are going to be successful. And it's more safer now than ever. So I'm really hyped about that. Like you said, there's just so many real world use cases. This is just another one on top of them.
Yeah, totally. And I think it's interesting when you're talking about, how you could, how metaverse really changes fundamentally our experience of the internet. We don't exactly know what the metaverse is going to look like long term, as lots of people have, pretty rampant skepticism about the metaverse. Some things are just not going to work, but I do think we will see this, enduring set of use cases that are actually sticky. We just don't exactly know what they are yet, but we can speculate. You know what I mean? And so, it's like Walsh is saying, if we have, if it changes how we experience the internet, that's kind of the idea, is that you have an embodied internet, then it could change the dynamic of something like, YouTube video, or in the comment section where, maybe a live stream is an experience, right? Where everybody here in the chat room is not just seeing chats fly across, but you're able to interact with other people's avatars in real time, and then just teleport off to the next thing in the metaverse. You're watching this live stream, and then you're on somebody else's stream, and then you're in, your virtual classroom for, your school or whatever it is, right? Remote work is now different because you're all just, you're all avatars inside of an office place in the metaverse. It's crazy.
I don't really see it. Yeah, right. And I don't really see like how they're really going to incorporate NFTs in like a meaningful way. Right. Like I know everyone wants to incorporate an NFT. And so I'm really interested to see how they do it. Maybe monetizing like paid content. Like you already know there's paid content on YouTube. You can like, buy channels. There's like YouTube TV and stuff. So I'm really interested to see how they utilize NFTs in that regard. Right. To me, as a content creator, being able to like create an NFT out of my videos already, like that doesn't really appeal to me too much. Right. Like I already own those videos, or I should own those videos. I have like local copies of those videos. So I don't really see how that's going to be exciting, right? At least from my initial thoughts about it. But I'm pretty hyped about the metaverse idea. because like we're just talking about being there with people, watching the same content together, would be really, really interesting. Really want to see how they do NFTs. Really, really want to see what that plays or how that plays out.
Yeah, we'll see. We got a couple other things I want to jump into in our stream today, but maybe one final thought on this is, from NFT perspective, it looks like the big value proposition is what members of the community can own from the creator, right? So it's not necessarily about the creator owning content they've already created. Of course, they do already own that. But what fans can own and what fans find collectible, and what fans find value. I mean, people watching these videos might like it, maybe they don't care, but somebody who has 50 million YouTube followers, you know what I mean? Like some crazy musician, like Mr. Beast, or I don't know, Logan Paul, somebody massive,
Anybody,
right?
yeah.
Somebody massive, right?
Yeah.
Those NFTs could be super valuable.
Yeah. No, I can see that. Yeah. Well, we'll see how it plays out. I just can't wait to see what metaverse comment sections are going to be like. That's going to be fun.
Think about like a really early YouTube video, right? Like think about like any early like PewDiePie video or something like that got like massively famous, that's like gone down in history, that might even become a meme. Like, what if you could own that video as an NFT? That's
not a bad idea. We'll have to make some historical precedents then, make some get a use case out of it.
Yeah.
You could just you could make an NFT out of your best video, right? And then you can just change, like, oh, I made another great one or something like that. I don't know. That's kind of cool.
Yeah. All right. So let's look at a couple of things that have happened.
A couple better use cases for NFTs.
let's just keep moving here. Let's look at a couple other things that have happened in the space. Yeah. We'll come back to more NFT chatter towards the end. We definitely got some more things here. Yeah. Tell us about the Ontario news with Bitcoin.
Yeah. So this is world news, guys. If you haven't heard, there's like a trucker convoy doing stuff between Canada and the United States border or whatever. This isn't political, of course. We stray away from that. We just want to focus on crypto news. And what's really interesting is that these truckers or whatever are getting like donations, and the actual donation services are getting frozen. They're getting shut down by the services. GoFundMe themselves stopped the donations to the truckers. A Canadian version called Give Send Go also shut down and froze the funds. In total, $18.4 million has been frozen, by these centralized services. And so what we're seeing here is like a real world example of the Bitcoin use case: uncensorable money, circumventing government authorities or entities in order to, benefit the people. So I thought it was really interesting, regardless of your stance. I don't care. This isn't political. But what I thought, again, was interesting was that you actually are seeing Bitcoin used the proper way, like how it was intended to use. So, right. Satoshi Nakamoto's use case, boom, real world example right there. So I don't know. That's really cool.
Yeah, totally. So basically the whole idea is, money's being censored. People are trying to receive donations. The big platforms, big payment platforms saying, no, we're not going to let you have this money. And so they're like, okay, we'll just use Bitcoin. You can't stop that.
Yeah, exactly totally. Right. Yeah, successfully as well.
It's working.
It's working. Yeah. The use case is working, I don't know if there'll be any kind of like ramifications on a government side of thing because of this, right? If they see that they're, because obviously the governments are having some hand in this type of censorship. They're not just letting this go, especially in Canada. In America, it's a little bit different, but you obviously already see GoFundMe, stop the donations. There's got to be some kind of political pressure there. But with Give Send Go, I think that's based up in Canada. And again, like they operate way differently than us. And so I'm just really interested to see like what was the real, did the governments actually have a hand in like saying, hey, stop, you can't send these funds? Like that's, because if that's the case, then we're seeing the real life example of it right now, and it's working as well. So it's a nice little touch on world news. We're seeing a lot of crypto events popping up in world news recently. Something we want to try to stray away from on Dapp University is staying away from world news, but like when crypto is getting incorporated into it, might as well report on it.
Yeah, totally. So we got some questions in the chat here. Definitely want to try to answer some of these. I've been flying by pretty fast here. So somebody says YouTube needs to stay away from Web 3.0. Let's see here. So somebody's talking about Cole Travis is talking about NFT airdrop emails. So a lot of times there's a lot of spam in the folder, but sometimes there's a good one in there. If you got any questions, go ahead and drop them in the chat here.
I think while we're looking for a good question, I think the best real world use case for crypto is like when you're going from country to country, right? I think I don't know if you've heard of the story before of like refugees from like Venezuela, going cross border without anything on them, no money, no hardware wallet or any of that, but just memorizing, their keys.
Yeah.
Their passcode, right? Their seed phrase rather, and then ending up in Mexico or America or wherever they end up, and then just accessing their funds, right? So that's just another, like that's the most practical use case for like crypto cross-border transactions and carrying your currency cross-border. So again, it's nice to see it used somewhere else.
You just better not forget.
Yeah, just make sure you remember those words.
Yeah. I want to put your life savings in. Don't forget your password to your life savings.
How do you combat fake or spam NFTs?
How do we combat fake or spam NFTs? I guess maybe some clarification on that question.
I mean, I've had my own personal experience. There's been around like spam NFTs specifically on OpenSea, typically sent on Polygon, from what I've noticed. Where if you click on
cheap.
it, like yeah, they get access to your wallet somehow, and I don't know the technicals of it at all, but I've definitely seen that, and
they just send them to you, like they just appear in your wallet.
They just appear in your wallet.
Yeah, basically they'll just take a bunch of addresses that they want to send an NFT to, and they'll just mint them to them. You don't have to pay for them. I mean, like they just I could send an NFT to you. You don't have to buy it from me. No. It's in your wallet.
No. So like totally understand that. That makes sense. But I'm talking about this is an actual scam. This was a couple months back. I think I noticed this back in like October. But there was an actual scam that around this, where if you actually clicked on the NFT just to take a look at it, they somehow got like hold of your wallet and were able to transfer your assets out of your wallet.
Oh,
which was really, it was really notorious and bad.
Oh, like take assets out of your wallet. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know the details behind it. It sounds like you probably approved something somewhere in the chain and weren't aware. But yeah.
Oh, they didn't get me. Oh no, like this never happened to me.
I just mean other people. Like I say you, I mean like the.
Yeah, for sure. How would you in general just like what would you recommend for people for just good kind of like safety measures or just like good practices, good habits there?
Yeah, this is really tricky because it's like everything you do has a trade-off. So like I try to be careful about giving really specific things because there's trade-offs with everything, right? If I tell you to use a hardware wallet, you could have a problem with your hardware wallet, right? If I say don't use a hardware wallet, you could have a problem by not using a hardware wallet, right? So generally speaking, you never want to sign a message on a website where you're not sure what you're, signing. But I'll tell you a benefit of a hardware wallet is it makes it a lot harder for what you're just talking about to happen because, like let's say you and I got on a Zoom call right now or something like that. And, you have a MetaMask wallet, okay? And I get access to your desktop and share screen. I can just click on your MetaMask wallet, paste my address in, click send, and your funds are gone.
Yeah.
Right? Because your private key is in your browser. And there's nothing you have to physically do on your end in order to authorize that transaction. If you had a hardware wallet in there and try to do that, there's nothing, I can't do that, right?
Right.
So similarly, if I wrote some sort of malware program and it download on your computer, it could do the exact same routine that I'm talking about, but at software level, right? But if you have a hardware wallet, there's no way for that malware to get onto your hardware device. So that's one way that you can have this extra safety measure. There are trade-offs with hardware wallets. We've seen exploits of data from customer data who have purchased hardware wallets in the past. I'm gonna leave the companies nameless for the sake of the stream. But basically, like if you bought one, you had to buy it online because you want to buy it from the manufacturer because you don't want to buy it on Amazon or something like that because you can't trust that. But when you give the manufacturer their data and then they don't custody it properly and they get hacked, and then all the customer information goes out into the dark web, and then you start getting emails from people saying like, they know what your wallet balance is, and they start sending you like death threats and stuff. Like that's not good either. So there's trade-offs for sure.
Yeah, in case you guys, big takeaway there is if you're buying a hardware wallet, buy it straight from the manufacturer. Don't buy it on Amazon.
But even then, there's a problem, right? Because we've seen the manufacturers get exploited in terms of their data.
I got a pretty easy one. But when can we code ETH and Python and other languages?
When can you code ETH and Python or other languages? So maybe, I'm not sure what the questions exactly are there. Can you code ETH and Python at the same time, or like can you code smart contracts with Python? I'll answer, or maybe do they mean like what order do you have to learn those things in?
Just quick. Outside of Solidity, I believe, like in just a different language like Rust or Python or.
But what do you want to do with it? Do you want to like code smart contracts, or do you want to code like blockchain applications that work with the smart contracts? If you can maybe put some clarification in the chat, I can help answer that question.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody says basically stay away from crypto. That's right. I guess that is kind of the point. Is there's that don't just stay away from crypto, but I want to be very realistic about this space and what you should be careful about, because a lot of people just jump in without thinking and learn some lessons the hard way. I've learned lots of lessons the hard way. I put it that way. I got in this space a long time ago, back in 2017. I'm not going to say I've made every mistake imaginable, but I've have some learned lessons the hard way. But nothing has ever been a fatal mistake. I'll put it that way.
That's good. Yeah. I'm knock on wood. I don't want that to happen. Someone says that they're working on a big project to prevent phishing, fake sites, and spam DMs on Discord. Please work harder, faster. We need you. We need you so bad.
Yep.
Risk management, yeah.
Well, we'll circle back to this Python question here in a minute. I actually want to just take a quick look to see what's going on in the crypto market real quick. We get any so did we get any we saw some data come back on inflation. Did you get any stats on that? I remember it was high as about 7.5%, something like that. It's highest it's been in a long time.
The market reacted just really interestingly to that information. It was about 7.5% exactly, and so that was above what they were projecting. But the market itself, it first went up and then went down, just kind of bouncing in between the support and the ceiling. So it didn't seem to have overall a huge effect on the market, despite obviously the terrible numbers. And everyone who's living in the United States and a lot of people globally obviously are going to get majorly impacted by that story. But
yeah, totally. And we looked at the U.S. inflation data, like compared to other countries, and it's pretty up there. It's pretty high. I want to take a look. We're still in kind of this limbo world with crypto. Part of it, I've been saying for about a month now, is to me, I don't see a scenario where crypto just like rips off to infinity while the stock market's kind of like in this kind of limbo territory or bearish. All right, and I think we're kind of still seeing that, right?
Yeah,
we want to see. I want to see a pretty convincing recovery in stocks before we get too excited about what's going on in crypto. That being said, I am hopeful. I still am pretty optimistic about where we could head over the coming months. But when I say coming months, I don't necessarily mean like 1 month, right? I think realistically, I think we're looking at a multi-month timeline here for sure to start seeing some serious price action, but we'll have to wait and see.
Exactly right.
Yeah.
Looks like our friend, his name was Weaponized Sponge. He's the one who asked the question. He elaborated. He said, yeah, just coding smart contracts in other languages. And then Pokemon let him know, kind of informed him with some alpha. There's Viper, which is similar to Python, that codes smart contracts. So there is this.
Yeah. So yeah, it's a good question. So there's a reason that you choose a specific programming language to do a certain task. Okay. why don't we just use the same programming language for everything? There's multiple answers to that question. But the primary reason is that certain programming languages are optimized to do what they're supposed to do at the machine level. Okay. So what a programming language is, it really is just human readable code where humans can look at it, they can determine what it says, and then they can modify it, to make the computer do what it wants to do. Okay. And then that information gets turned into machine readable code through some form or fashion. Okay. And then that, the computer is actually what executes that. So in the case of smart contracts, what you do is you write human readable code, and that gets compiled into byte code that gets run on, the computer, a blockchain node that's part of running the blockchain. So in the case of like Ethereum, that's the Ethereum virtual machine. All the Ethereum compatible chains, the EVM compatible chains, they run byte code that's compiled from Solidity smart contracts. Now, there's a reason that you do it in Solidity and not some other programming language. Like, why didn't, whenever they were creating Ethereum in the first place, why didn't they say, let's just use Python, right? All these people know Python. Well, it's because you want a purpose-built language that handles a very specific set of use cases that smart contracts are designed to do. And so you create a programming language from scratch that does that, that's efficient, because you have to think about it. You got to do gas efficiency. You need to optimize for gas. You need to optimize for this. You need to optimize for that, right? And so you don't want to just take some programming language and just like shovel it into this use case, because it's not going to be purpose built. It's not going to be efficient. It's not going to do exactly what you want it to do. Now, some people still complain about Solidity programming language. That's fine, but it's better than a lot of the alternatives. So that being said, we do have alternatives. Viper is another language that you can use for coding smart contracts. It's very similar to Python. So you come from a Python background, it's going to like look a lot more similar to you. You're still going to have to learn a new programming language. It's not the exact same. Okay. But that being said, Viper is not super widely used. And when people jump in this space, whether they're a developer already or not, I highly encourage that they just use what most people are using, because you're going to have a way easier time getting help with problems and learning new things, because you're going to have tons of resources. And Viper's not super widely used, right? So, I mean, you could look on GitHub and look at the share of Viper versus Solidity. It's going to be pretty heavily skewed towards Solidity. I don't have the stats in front of me. If I had to guess, I'd say 98% Solidity. So,
yeah, that was some serious alpha there. Why don't you drop the alpha on real estate that we have for today?
Let's see. Let's see, which one is it here?
This is our user story of the day. Credits going out to Jake12655. So the first real estate sale in the United States has occurred as an NFT. This is pretty monumental.
Oh, the Tampa Bay home. Okay, let me pull this up here.
Yeah, this one's pretty sick. And so the seller themselves essentially used an LLC to put the house and basically registered the house under the LLC and then sold it as an NFT. Right. Sick. We've been waiting for this type of I've been waiting for this type of adoption for quite some time, because for the last months, if not longer, you would definitely be able to weigh in. Like, people have been talking about the use case of NFTs as again, just digital property rights and being able to transfer assets outside of just like a profile picture to other people. Major use case, real estate. So now we've actually seen the first case in America where it's actually happened. And again, it's good old Florida, good old arm swing there, leading the pack. I know you're really big into real estate and stuff. Like, what are your thoughts here?
Yeah, so I've got a lot of thoughts here. Some thoughts and some questions. So basically, we've already seen some people try to figure out, how do we merge assets in the physical world with assets in the digital world, right? And one of the vehicles that has potentially made this possible is basically creating corporate entities in the real world and assigning ownership of that stuff to blockchain. We're starting with DAOs. Okay. We're starting to see legislation in the United States for DAOs to be recognized as LLCs. I believe I think it was Wyoming passed that, or it was in
Mhm.
process. I can't remember whether it's happened or not officially. I can't remember off the top of my head, but that seems to be for people who are in the know, who are the legal folks among us. Again, I'm not pretending to be a legal expert. I'm just saying what's happening here. That seems to be the strategy, and so that looks like what's happening here is like how uh, 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 if I own a house and I want to turn it into an NFT, I can't just like do that. I technically have to. It looks like I have to technically transfer the ownership of my home from myself to something else, and then that thing is the NFT. So that's what it looks like here, because the implementation is critical for this to happen, right? But I also think that this is interesting if this ends up working long term, because it's a step in the right direction for what I think is possible with real estate. As we talked about yesterday on the stream, I brought it up multiple times that the Ethereum blockchain as it exists today is equipped to handle the entire volume of real estate transactions on that happen every single day in America. If you look at the entire number of real estate transactions in America in a year time, we can easily handle that load on Ethereum as it exists today, without Ethereum 2.0, without layer 2 scaling solutions. And it makes sense because you want a highly secure chain for those types of transactions because they're super high ticket, and you don't care about gas fees. If you had to pay $1,000 gas fee, like to transfer the sale of a home, like that's a lot less than the closing costs in many cases. Okay. So, I think this is a step in the right direction. There's something else in here I was thinking of, but those are the initial thoughts off the top of my head.
Awesome. Yeah. I'm just hyped. I've been watching the real estate tokenization market for quite some time, and it seemed like no one was even able to like really pull it off in America, and everyone's been having just issues trying to figure it out. But it's been done. I think the actual service or whatever, it was called Proppy, that managed to pull that one off. So big props to Proppy there. No pun intended.
Yeah, the last thing here I'll note, and then we do some questions, and I got to jump off. Is this also opens a gateway to potentially tokenizing the ownership of real estate? Okay. There's going to be some significant regulatory hurdles to overcome in order to make that a reality, but I do think we can get there. I don't think the U.S. is going to be first to get there by any stretch of the imagination. People are already doing this in some places, but it's just step one. You turn a house into an NFT. You take that NFT, you turn it into fungible tokens, or a collection of fungible tokens that represent the NFT, and now you can own fractions of that particular home. Okay, and that's you just changed the game for real estate investing. I know we see lots of fintech and real estate companies in the past 10 years try to break into this like model of like invest in real estate easy with like $1,000 rather than having to buy a home yourself. There's lots of stuff, lots of ways to do that, but this is a way you could do it on blockchain in a decentralized way.
What's sick is in that article I was reading, it said that they're going to use the house as collateral for DeFi, and that's a really interesting.
Yeah, that's yeah. Now you're talking a brave new world. It's like we're talking about mixing assets with different use cases. I mean, people are already kind of doing this in the world now. A lot of people took out mortgages in their house to buy crypto in the opposite direction, right? But now you've got the thing where you can use the house to like as collateral for something else. It's pretty crazy.
I mean, that's the fastest way to go from like a 2.2 trillion market cap that we're at right now all the way to 20 trillion, right? Let's just NFT and then NFTIs or whatever you want to call it, make NFTs out of all this real estate, commercial real estate, etc., and then put them on the blockchain.
Yeah, totally.
Put them into DeFi. Right.
So let's get a couple of questions in here, and then we'll jump off for today. So let's see here. This message reminds me of the wedding which took place in the metaverse from India. I didn't see that.
That's pretty sick. A metaverse wedding's already happened. Like what? It's not even.
Yeah.
I thought that would have been like, oh man, a couple years away. That's so sick.
It says, imagine sending your house to the wrong address.
Yeah, I know. Oh my god. Imagine getting a house.
That's right. Yeah. Whoops.
What's the best way to determine if an NFT is a copy or an original?
You can check the address. So you want to make sure that, like, a lot of websites will list the official NFT address. You just need to use multiple data points. All right. At the end of the day, you want to go to Etherscan and look at the address of the NFT that you're going to be interacting with. And you want to take that as the source of truth, and then take that and say, all right, how many ways can I just double check to make sure that this is the right address for the NFT? Let's say you plan to buy a Bored Ape, right? I'm just throwing out an example here. That maybe that's not what people want, but I'm just using that as an example. You want to do you basically want to try to figure out what is the Bored Ape address on Etherscan. Okay, you want to go to Etherscan. Let me actually pull up the Etherscan link. Hold on a second. You want to go to Etherscan and look at the contract address and start there. All right. Let's just see here. Actually, I thought they had their Etherscan link on here. Anyways, you want to go to Etherscan, look at the address, and then make sure that the figure out the address, and then try to do everything that you can to make sure that address is the one you think you're going to interact with. So this is not the Bored Ape address necessarily. I'm just pulling up an address on Etherscan, right? And just literally just click this. This is the Sora L2 bridge, right? Something else completely. But you want to find the address and then copy it. And then you can even look at the contract code and say, does it say like Bored Ape or whatever? That's an easy, quick point of due diligence. And then you could just like go to every single social channel and say, hey, can y'all verify, is this the Bored Ape address, right? You can look on their website. Does the website say it? Does OpenSea say it? Does this say it? Does that say it? And then that's going to give you a higher degree of confidence. And then if you're going on MetaMask and then you're like doing something where you think you're buying a Bored Ape, you want to look at every single transaction and make sure like the address that of the NFT that you're buying is actually contained there, 100% in that transaction before you click send. Now it's really confusing. Some people get confused about this because you don't want to send, a lot of people like send their NFTs to the contract itself rather than their wallet. So you want to watch out for that. Like, don't put the Bored Ape address in the recipient field, like when you're approving a transaction or like buying an NFT or something like that. That's another pitfall that people make, but those are some ideas.
Yeah, no, that was clear as day. That was a great answer there. Got a personal question for you. Simple Man asks, Greg, what's your favorite crypto channel?
Depends on what you mean, like cryptocurrency. Like if you're talking about like what's going to happen with the crypto markets. It's a good question.
Obviously, it's DAP University, guys. It's an obvious answer.
I don't claim to be a crypto price oracle or expert. Yeah, I mean, in terms of like crypto analysis, in terms of like the price and the markets, definitely like what's going on over at Real Vision Crypto. Definitely like what's I talked to Ben some from Into the Cryptoverse. I like his analysis on the crypto market. He still thinks we're in a lengthening cycle. I tend to agree. So yeah.
Nice,
and I can't remember if I pronounced Ben's last name right or wrong. It's Cowan or Cohen. I can't remember. Sorry, Ben. All right. I got to jump off for today. So as always, smash that like button down below for the YouTube algorithm. Subscribe to this channel if you haven't already. That really helps these videos out so that more people can learn about blockchain. If you got a story that you want to talk about on our stream or anything, definitely hit up Walshy on Twitter. He's gonna be helping us prep for these streams. I am Walshy. You can see his Twitter handle. Yeah, right there. All right. Yeah. And if you're as fast in this technology as I am, you want to get your hands dirty. How can you get started today? You can find those free courses on my YouTube homepage. So like Udemy courses, but it's totally free. And if you like those and you want to take the next step, or hey, maybe you want to take a master shortcut entirely, I should become a blockchain master step-by-step start to finish over at dapuniversity.com/bootcamp. You have to be an expert to get started today. I thought people with zero coding experience become real-world blockchain developers in a matter of months. So that's all I've got. And until next time, thanks for watching DAP University.